Didn't have the luxury of forgetting why he did it or how Abel's blood had dripped off the stone and onto his corpse. He could still hear his mother's distant wailing, the mountains crumbling, and the sky cracking as a father mourned the death of his son, all because of Cain. Cain! Cain! You there? Leora watched as Cain jolted back to reality and moved his queen 6 places, toppling one of her pawns. Check. Aw, come on, every time. Man, thought I had you there. She pouted as he dissolved the captured piece back into light. You'd have to do better than this, little miss. She noticed the same absent-minded look spreading across Cain's face again. Is something the matter? You look troubled. Ah, just old memories. An old man lost in thoughts. Oh, what are you thinking about? For a brief moment, Cain's ever-pleasant demeanor drained from his face and he became someone else. Someone old and tired who had done many things he regretted. And then, as quickly as the look had appeared, he had banished it from his face again. Nothing in particular. Hello everybody, I'm the Rubber. Today we're bringing you a tale from the SCP Foundation. Let's play again tomorrow. Sure thing. Off you go now. Leora waved at him as the guard led her away from the cell. Cain waved back with a smile. The cell door shut tight and the smile once again faded away. Cain looked around his cell, nothing but cold steel and lifeless concrete. He sighed and spoke to himself. Haven't I suffered enough? How long do I have to carry this curse? When will it end? He missed the days when he used to walk the earth barefoot, when he used to collect wild berries and hunt in the woods with his brother. He could vividly feel the leaves brushing against his body and leaves crunching softly under his careful steps. He grew sad remembering how comforted he would feel when he lay down on the grassy ground after a day of hard work. I mean no disrespect, but isn't it nice being an immortal and all? Like you don't need to worry about being sick and dying from things like cancer. You're free to do whatever you want, live however you want. Oh. How would you live your immortal life then, my friend? First thing first, to hell with this diet. I'm gonna eat whatever the hell I want. I only eat healthily to maintain my physique and keep my job. I'm sure you can imagine how this place is a meat grinder for men like us. Most of us die in missions that we can't even tell our loved ones about. To die like that? Nah, I wouldn't have to worry about a damn thing if I had a body like yours, Cain. Very well. I can see why you'd think that way, but you must consider its less desirable aspects as well. Yeah, plants and papers rot around you, but I'm fine with that. I think it's a fair deal if that means I can live forever. Hell, I think it's a steal. Well, when you put it that way, I guess I've been very fortunate, in a way. The memories of the past haunted him still. This photographic memory is a blessing and a curse, he thought to himself. Cain had already left when it happened. His curse had killed the land around him and forced him away from everything he had known. As if it wasn't enough to continually mourn his brother and the loss of his home, he would often see himself carrying his dead brother's body in his nightmares. Each time, his brother would only speak one word: remember. No matter what, the blood dripping on the stone was always the first thing he saw when he closed his eyes. 3 days earlier, the Foundation had requested that Cain reunite with his brother. He decided to give it a shot. Cain crossed the white room and stood over the coffin that held his brother. He didn't know if Abel could hear him in there. Maybe he was sleeping. The thought made him smile a little. Maybe Abel's habit of long naps hadn't changed. "Good morning, brother. Say, shouldn't you be tending to your sheep? They're scattered all over the hills." Cain waited, no reply from the coffin, not a single sound. "Abel, I'm sorry." Before he could finish, Abel's hand broke through the coffin's dark wood, gripping a sword. Cain barely had time to react after he caught a glimpse of it as it tried to decapitate him. However, Cain did not dodge the blade. He didn't need to. Abel's head fell to the floor and turned to dust, caving in on itself. Cain coughed, ran his hand over his neck, and winced. "Good to see you too. I'll never get used to that." Unpleasant would be an understatement. Abel stepped out of his coffin, the blade still tightly gripped in his hand. "Why are you here? What do you want?" "I came to ask for—" Abel silenced his brother by lifting the tip of his sword to Cain's neck. "Leave. Now. You know, you can never hurt me, don't you?" Abel brought his sword to his own neck and thrust it into his skin. Again, Cain let him. Watching his brother being decapitated again displeased him deeply. "I told you, you can't." "Oh, I see what you're trying to do." Collapsing into a pile on the floor, Abel's head and body turned to dust. "Very well, brother. I'll come by again soon." Cain purposefully took his time leaving, just in case Abel changed his mind, but he didn't. This scene would recur over and over for another month. Sometimes, Abel would pretend to finally be interested in a chat, only to decapitate himself by means of Cain's anomalous arm reflection ability and go back to his coffin. Sometimes, he would not even make a sound. Sometimes, Cain would come to Abel's chamber just to sit by the coffin. Sometimes, he would sing as Abel slept. Abel had been the timid brother. The only thing that soothed him on stormy nights was his mother's lullabies. Despite his age, Cain was still able to hum the soft, haunting melodies that dwelt on the brighter days before all this, before the killing. He was somewhat pleased by it. Sometimes, before Cain left, Abel would say just one thing to him from his coffin. "I'll never forgive you, Cain." The next time Leora came to Cain's cell to play chess, it was quieter than most days. In the past, Cain would comment on her moves, providing running commentary of the game. "Ah, I see what you're trying to do. Ooh, I see you're emulating me, but that won't work. Too late now, and check." But today, Cain was only focused on the board. Rarely did he look up or even talk. "Is everything okay? You've barely said a single word today. Are you tired?" "What? Oh no, I'm just focusing on the game. I'm all right." He reached for a piece, but hesitated for a moment, his fingers hovering in the air. "Yeah, well, being the smart guy you are, you're always telling stories, chatting up the guard, or doing something else during our games. You don't typically need to focus like that. Something else must be troubling you." "She's right about that one, Cain. Guess there's no point hiding from you lot. I'm currently plagued with a problem regarding seeking forgiveness. Please forgive me. I prefer to leave the details to myself." "Well, there's not much to it. You say sorry and ask for forgiveness. You say your piece and hope that person understands and forgives you. Everything sounds clearer and simpler with you. It doesn't have to be complicated, Cain, and kind too. I cannot imagine why anyone would get mad at you. You flatter me, little miss, but at the time I wasn't the man I am today. I was bad. Very, very bad." "Yeah, but you've changed for the better, haven't you? That alone should be enough to, redeem yourself, right?" Cain opened his mouth, but he couldn't find the words. Thoughts of forgiveness and redemption filled his mind. "Do I deserve to be forgiven after all I've done?" he thought. "To be given immortality, albeit with a trade-off, surely it's a blessing. Have I redeemed myself? I may not be as smart as you, but you and me, we're all just not normal people living under the watchful eyes of normal people. We eat, sleep, and live according to specific rules. If the Foundation didn't make rules for us, our own specialties would find a way for us to live painful lives. No one else could understand. Sure, some may be jealous that you get to live so long while the rest of us just stop living at some point. Death is scary, but you've beat it. Still, maybe we're simple to think that way, because, you understand your pain better than other people. I don't know. Only the cursed ones live here in cells. I think you've done enough, suffered enough, Cain. You'll be forgiven, I'm sure of it." She looked back down at the chessboard. Cain could only look at her as she planned her next move. The next day, Abel's coffin remained silent, as Cain expected. "I have come to talk. Please forgive me. I apologize from the bottom of my heart." Abel slowly opened the coffin, standing and stepping out, watching his brother with patient yet rageful gaze. "Heart, huh? Funny. I swear you didn't have one when you murdered me, your own brother. I'm sorry. Sorry? Sorry? That's all you can say? You have the audacity to come here and say sorry now, after killing and leaving me? Why? Killing me and leaving me to these people to leave their marks on me, all their marks? Tell me." I was young and jealous. I'm older now. Time has carved its wisdom into me. I'm here now because I still love you. Please forgive me, Abel. Abel drew his blade. As he prepared to swing, he let the sword fall to the ground with a clatter, instead putting his hands around Cain's neck. "It's not fair. It's not fair. You are so untouched. I can't leave a single wound on you. And yet, look at me. Look at all the things that have been done to me. It's so unfair. I died, and now I live a life of rage and disgrace. You, on the other hand, are revered by the people around you. You used to be my hero. But this, you let this happen to me." As he choked Cain, Abel could feel himself being choked by his own strength, but he didn't care. The rage and sadness inside him drove him to continue. "I see it, Abel. I see what I've done. I take full responsibility. I don't know how, but I promise I'll make it up to you, brother." Cain reached out and touched Abel's face to wipe the tears running down his cheeks. Abel let out a cry as he exerted his full strength into crushing Cain's windpipe. With a crunch, Abel gasped and let go, crumbling at Cain's feet. By the time the brothers' tears reached the floor, they could only wet the dust that remained. "So, how goes it?" "Oh, well, I did my best there." "Did the person forgive you?" "I don't know, and I may never know. But that's fine now. I have to accept it for what it is." "What?" "But that's so unfair. You were so worried and you did your best. I've made peace with it now. No matter how many times I apologize, if he won't accept it, there's nothing I can do. The things I've done are a part of me. Perhaps I have already redeemed myself. Maybe not. Still, no amount of goodwill and charity can erase the harm I've done. We can only do better. I still can't imagine what you could have possibly done to get a curse like losing the ability to die." He only smiled and moved his knight. "Perhaps it's for bullying a girl and